Hi, this is AG. I wanted to take a minute to tell you everything you get for subscribing to our podcast. First of all, you wouldn't have to listen to this ad, because you'll get access to our premium ad-free content. You'll also get the key to unlock 2 bonus episodes every week. And beginning April 23rd, you'll get access to the Mueller, She Wrote book club, where we will be reviewing A Higher Loyalty by James Comey. You'll get the weekly newsletter that has links to all the resources and personal show notes that you hear in the show. And finally, you'll get an invite to our closed Facebook group, where I get to post under my real identity. You get all that for $1. I know you can do it. It's also of note that our patron costs will be increasing on April 13th to cover unforeseen shipping costs because I haven't mailed anything since 1984. So sign up before April 13th to get locked in at the lower rates. We will honor the rates if you sign up before April 13th. So don't forget that some of our proceeds also go to Act Blue. So you're not just supporting women in podcasting and this podcast, but you'll be helping flip Congress blue so we can impeach Trump in 2019. We appreciate you all so much. Whether you're a patron or not, we're just glad you're listening. This podcast may contain laughter.
So to be clear, Mr. Trump has no financial relationships with any Russian oligarchs.
That's what he said. That's what I said. That's obviously what our position is.
I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I not have communications with the Russians.
What do I have to get involved with Putin for? I have nothing to do with Putin. I've never spoken to him. I don't know anything about him other than he will respect me. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
So, it is political. You're a communist.
No, Mr. Green. Communism is just a red herring. Like all members of the oldest profession, I'm a capitalist.
Hello, welcome to Mueller, She Wrote. I am your anonymous host, AG. I work high up in Trump's executive branch, and miraculously, I haven't been fired yet. But because of the Hatch Act, I can't use my real name, so bear with us with that. And with me, as always, is Jaleesa Johnson.
Hello.
And over to my right, I have Jordan Coburn.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys this week?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, did you enjoy last weekend, having to record everything twice?
Yeah, that was good. Good practice.
Basically, what happened is we recorded everything last weekend, and none of it took for whatever reason. Maybe at the end, there might have been a little wine.
We had a little too much wine, yeah.
And I wish it existed somewhere so we could listen to it later just to see how ridiculous we were at the end.
The lost episode?
Yeah, but
somewhere out there.
We all had to come back the next day and redo the whole thing. So
I feel like it almost went... It definitely didn't go worse doing it 2 times.
No, it was better.
Almost, yeah, because I feel like we got to refine our riffs and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we still sound a little spontaneous, though, you know.
Yeah, oh, yeah, most definitely.
But
it all came from the heart.
Yeah, hopefully, if this is recording, this is the first take of this show. So you're getting the fresh, rawness of the newness. Anyhow, I'm glad you guys had a good weekend besides that. So the news picked up quite a bit this week. Jordan is going to be talking about an update to the George Nader story, as if we needed any more Nader in our lives. And Jaleesa is going to cover, I keep wanting to call him Michael Bolton.
I do too, yeah.
It's John Bolton's potential ethical issues as he begins his job as National Security Advisor. The day you're listening to this is the day he starts. So
Nice.
This episode airs on his first day of work. So, hey, welcome, Bolton, you piece of shit. There's probably just like so much fecal matter in his mustache.
Oh, no.
Thinking about that. Like, what's hiding in there? All that money? Yeah. Stashing the money in the stash.
Hiding missiles in his mustache.
That's amazing.
I'm going to be talking about why I am now convinced that Manafort is going to face superseding indictments, you guys. In our 2 minisodes this week, we'll be going over Mueller's endgame, what I like to call the final countdown, and a touching op-ed in the Washington Post. This was so good. I was so glad I read it. It was an op-ed by Jill McCabe. That's Andy McCabe's second wife, besides me. And you can unlock these bonus episodes by subscribing at MuellerSheWrote.com for $1. It's $1. You can do
cheap.
it.
Come on,
you can
guys.
do it. $1. Like, what's
So
$1?
Yeah.
My coffee from McDonald's?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not as fulfilling as
that's
an
a good
episode of
steal,
Mueller, She
though.
Wrote.
That goes far.
Yeah.
That helps with a lot of mental well-being.
Yeah.
$1 is a bag of hot peanuts.
Think about this. Whenever I go to the bar and I order a glass of wine, I tip $1. On every single drink I've ever had at a bar is $1.
That's a good
You
rule.
get like hours of free content and newsletters and
For one tip, yeah.
the hours and hours of research that I pour into my notes, my show notes, and my research, and the hours that that Jaleesa puts into editing the bonus episodes, and that Jordan puts into the awesome friggin' newsletter, the pimped out newsletter that goes out every week. It's so worth it, you guys. It's so worth it. We believe in you.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to have to make our patrons listen to this, but
I know.
Some of them like it. Yeah.
You'll be
A few
okay.
people.
Well, they can also reminisce on the other stupid things they could be doing with $1.
Exactly.
Instead,
Make
shows
a
with us.
list. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say they could reminisce about what it used to be like to listen to ads.
That too.
This is it. You should maybe play a little girl from Ipanema behind that whole thing and
Ooh,
make it sound like
official ad. Yeah.
Yeah, they can get the feeling of what it's, I remember that.
They miss it.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a nice, nostalgia.
Definitely.
Vintage.
For when they were less cool people.
Stop it. That's a cool song. First, we have a correction. Last week, I said the professor that stole the data of 50 million Facebook users, the guy who has a dual thing going on at Cambridge and St. Petersburg State University. I said his name was Koger, but it's Kogan. I was thinking of Kroger.
Oh, yeah.
Great cereals.
I do like Kroger. That's an out west grocery store chain, right?
It's in the South, too, actually.
Is it in the South?
Yeah,
we don't have Piggly Wiggly, but we do have Kroger.
I'm surprised you know what that is.
Based out of Ohio, Bernard Kroger.
Oh,
Bernard.
nice. That's my home state.
Oh, nice.
That's another clue to figuring out who I am. Thank you. All the AGs.
There's this poor
wrong.
lady that someone thought was you that's been getting tweeted at.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's our Jaeger.
Oh, his wife.
Yeah. Wait, it's his wife?
It's his wife.
What?
Yeah, Abby something?
Yeah. The
Abby
one
Goldman?
The one that he was like, "Is this AG?"
Yeah.
And it's really?
Yeah, he was joking. That's his wife.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Okay, well then she enjoys being trolled, hopefully.
Because I said you're not the first person to say that. He's like, really? That's my wife.
Oh, that's so funny.
We have funny fans.
We do.
Definitely.
Our fans are the best.
Yeah.
Dude, I still can't get over the Squid Pro Crow.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
It's the best drawing. Well, you'll see it in the newsletter if you get one. First, I have a correction from last week. Like I said, it's Kogan, not Kroger. I'm going to call him Kroger anyway. So I have nicknames for everyone, like Imbiza and Imbissa, Kroger, Kush, Papa Dop, Robocop,
Yeah.
Robolovliev, Lev. I call him Robocop. It's weird that I have like nicknames for all those guys, but not for like Litvenyenko, Akhmenshin, Kavaladze, or Veselnetskaya. Like I'm fine with those.
Yeah, those things are cool enough. Yeah.
I'm totally fine with those. All right, well, let's get into this week's news with just the facts. All right, so Monday, Mueller filed a court document reminding everyone, just in case they forgot, that Vanderswan agreed to waive his FOIA rights in his plea agreement. So what's FOIA? FOIA is the Freedom of Information Act. We've talked about this before on the show, but in case this is your first episode, basically any journalist or civilian or person in the government or anyone can file a Freedom of Information Act request, and the government has to honor it.
Right.
So Mueller reiterated in the court document the two reasons why he wanted to ensure the FOIA right was waived. And he thought it was important enough to repeat that he filed a totally separate court document about it. That's all this court document was, hey, don't forget, he can't do FOIA. Vanderswan can't do FOIA. The first reason is because Vanderswan could make a crazy-ass FOIA request, and that would like quicksand the limited resources of the official special, or the Office of the Special Counsel. I'm not sure if quicksand is a verb, but I'm making it one.
It paints a picture for sure.
Yeah. So like, for instance, he could request every email that contains the word "the" and bog down Mueller's office.
Exactly.
Trying to fulfill that request. And the whole investigation would sink into the swamp of sadness.
Yeah.
Artex, you're sinking! Come on, turn around! You have to now!
Artex!
It's so sweet. That's the thing with the big furry dragon dog, right?
Yeah.
Flying through the
Falcor?
sky.
Yeah.
It made me cry when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't understand the movie.
Yeah, do you
at
remember
all.
when
Me
his horse
neither.
sank in the swamp of sadness?
I actually don't. I was so young.
I do.
Yeah, that was so devastating to me when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, my grandma showed me that shit too. It's
Jesus
very
Christ, Grandma.
yeah. That and Agatha Christie, she was a fucked up grandma.
Oh man. You still is stuff,
Jessica
man.
Fletcher's pretty rad, though.
She also told me
rad.
I got the freckles on my face because I was getting my diaper changed once and I pooped into the fan that was on above me.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Although I will say my goddaughter was sitting in one of those automatic swings, and she shit herself, and it drew like a little geometric shape on the ground in liquid shit.
Like some Fibonacci
Yeah.
sequence.
I like this story.
It was totally the golden spiral, but made of shit.
Dude, it happened to me too. In kindergarten, I wore a dress to school and I shat myself, and my teacher picked me up from my chair, and it was just sitting right there.
Amazing.
Yeah, embarrassing. But now I've repeated it for the whole world to know.
Yeah, this is great. That was a nice derailment.
Yeah, I think we
poop
should leave
stories.
that in. I like the poop stories myself. Anyhow,
Yeah.
the second and probably more important reason mentioned by the special counsel, the second reason he filed this to remind everybody about the FOIA thing, is that van der Zwaan knows sensitive information that could taint the investigation. He could taint the investigation if it were made public through FOIA requests. And this is important. So put a pin here, or whatever my catchphrase is going to be. I put it out on Twitter like I need a put a pin in it.
Yeah.
Put a pin in it.
You need a catchphrase like Kaplawi.
Or a chorus of kids that say it together, sort of.
Oh, like a creepy,
Put a pin in it.
Yeah.
Children of the Corn kind of, yeah.
Or what does Jessica Fletcher say? Andrew told me, I couldn't help but notice. That's a phrase for a Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
nice.
that.
And a British
so-
accent.
I'm not going to do that. But anyway, van der Zwaan knows sensitive information. It could taint the investigation if it were made public through FOIA requests. So I couldn't help but notice. I don't know. I'll bring it up
We'll
later.
try them. We'll try them on over the episodes.
Or my favorite Dallas McLaughlin catchphrase, put some beans on it.
Nice.
You know, I like that one too. So this is important. Put some beans on it. We learned Monday that Roger Stone, the Stone, it's like The Rock, but not as cool.
Oh, yeah.
He sent an email to Nunberg in 2016 bragging that he dined with Assange, Julian Assange from WikiLeaks.
Brilliant.
So who's Nunberg? Nunberg is that crazy fucking dude that did a bunch of coke and drank a bunch of whatever he drinks. Probably whiskey. He looks like a whiskey guy.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Scotch.
no.
Wine coolers.
Yeah, he's a Smirnoff Ice guy.
Yeah, icy, yeah.
Yeah, so he got iced right before he came on the show. And he was going around saying, I love Roger Stone. He's like a dad to me. He's my mentor. And I'm not, come and get me, Mueller. Blah, you know.
Come and get me.
So anyway, he sent an email to Nunberg in 2016 saying, I dined with Julian Assange. Well, so Stone denies this, but more and more evidence is coming out that the Stone was in Ecuador at that time. And either met with Assange, because that's where Assange was. He was exiled or excommunicated or whatever you get. He had to
Right.
run away, like Snowden's in Russia.
You can't sit with us. Yeah.
Mean Girls. But he was in Ecuador. And so Stone either met with him or he met with him in person or electronically, like over Skype or something.
Right.
More evidence is coming out indicating that. So we'll see what happens there. Put some beans on it. We found out that Thursday before last, Papadopoulos got drunk again, this time at a Chicago nightclub called Hydrate. And that sounds like such a douchebag club. It reminds me of, Stefan on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Like he rolls in and he puts his hands up. The hottest club in Chicago is called Hydrate. Every booth has a giant water bottle filled with the nervous sweat of Paul Manafort. And then just, I just see Stefan.
That's perfect.
Like a
Hottest
tight
club.
camouflage t-shirt with mesh arm legging
mesh
things.
arm
Yeah.
tattoos. The hottest club in Chicago is called Hydrate. So Papadopoulos is at this bullshit club, and he gets drunk, and he told someone that Jeff Sessions definitely knew about his contact with Mifsud, who told Papadopoulos about the Hillary Clinton emails, you remember? And Sessions encouraged him to find out everything he could about the hacked emails. Is that like his pickup line at bars? Like, because he does this a lot. Like, is that his game? Like, hey, girl.
Yeah.
When we like, hey, girl. Let me think of one.
Did you go halfsies on a bail money? I don't know.
Did you annex Crimea? Because you've been rushing through my mind all night.
I love that.
Fighting him. over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that. Yeah,
For
yeah.
a slumber party.
Yeah.
So they can do each other's makeup.
That's confirmed fact right
They
there.
can't braid each other's hair or anything, but it's like, you're bald. Yeah, well.
Braid his wig.
you have spray on hair.
Toupee.
Braid is.
When they're in prison, they get to like cornrows, right? He can practice.
Oh, that's
There we go.
amazing. Arrested Development.
Oh, my God. Oh, God, that was so funny in Arrested Development when he comes out with the cornrows. Oh, geez. All right, then late Monday night, we found out in a court filing that was in response to Manafort's motion to have the charges against him dismissed. Like, he put in a motion, like, to have everything dismissed.
Ballsy.
Stupid. And, that's, I mean,
Hail
I guess
Mary.
if you've got nothing else, like, dismiss the charges. I don't know that's my position.
You're just gonna come in dressed as like a bunny rabbit or something. Like, I don't know who Paul Manafort is. I'm sorry.
Paul Manafort's not here.
I plead insanity. I was a rabbit at the time. I was a rabbit. So anyway, and Rosenstein wrote a memo. It showed up in this filing that Rosenstein wrote a memo last August that went into more detail about what Mueller has jurisdiction to look into. The memo, which was mostly redacted, was the secret companion to the public appointment memo of the special counsel. The public memo said special counsel can look into anything related to Trump Russia and anything that arises from that, right? And so they left details out of the public document because they didn't want to leak the game plan to possible targets and subjects of the criminal investigation, because they could destroy evidence or whatever. They knew where he was going or what he was looking into.
Exactly.
So in a move to cover Mueller and back him up, Rosenstein wrote a secret internal memo that detailed everything Mueller had permission to investigate.
Nice.
As I said, most of it's redacted, but the two bullets that have been made public as part of this court filing say that Mueller can look into the allegations that Manafort committed crime or crimes by colluding with Russian government officials with respect to the Russian government's efforts to interfere in the 2016 presidential election in violation of U.S. law.
Yes.
And Mueller can investigate crime or crimes arising out of payments he received from Ukrainian government before and during the tenure of President Viktor Yanukovych.
Oh, my God.
So this says some important things. First of all, it says that Manafort, the head of Trump's campaign, allegedly colluded with the Russian government to interfere in our elections.
That's a mouthful right there.
All right. And we knew that, but to see it in a nice court document,
So validating.
it's pretty juicy. Secondly, it seems to indicate that collusion is a crime. That the Department of Justice sees collusion as a crime, at least in this instance, at least as it relates to the Russian government and election malfeasance. In this context, it sees collusion as a crime. And I'm not sure how they're putting that together. It's new, though. We've never, we've always been operating under the assumption that collusion is not a crime.
Right.
But it appears, in his infinite sexy justiceness, that Mueller has found a way to make it a crime. And I don't know if he's compiling other laws and calling it this new thing of collusion, like where he might be taking a combo of crimes like not registering as a foreign agent or conspiracy against the United States, or racketeering, or the breaking of campaign finance laws, or the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Like maybe he's rolling it all up into this new thing called collusion with a foreign entity.
I love it.
To interfere in elections. We've never had that before.
But we need it.
Yeah, I don't see why it can't come into existence.
Exactly. There's so many dots. I think what it is, after a certain point, like it makes sense that he's going to say this is unprecedented, but he has the authority to make it a thing. Like to say if you have 5 different Russian connections, that's going to now be collusion.
Well, I think the court does. Like, all right, like he could charge Manafort with this new crime or group of crimes he calls collusion against the United States or interfering with a foreign entity in the elections or whatever he calls it.
Right.
And then Manafort could appeal, and it could work its way up to the Supreme Court, where it would then be litigated.
Oh.
And then that would be the precedent.
Yeah.
Or not. They might say, nope, collusion's not a crime.
Right.
You got to do it on all these individual crimes. And I'm making shit up off the top of my head right now.
But it sounds very logical. Like
Thank you.
Yeah.
Some lawyer's going to be like, no, life doesn't work that way. AG, sorry. I really have no idea, but it seems to indicate somehow that collusion is a crime according to the Department of Justice. At least according to that memo. I do too.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole argument. Collusion is not a crime. No collusion. It's also important to note that on page 42 of the response to the motion to dismiss the charges, it states that the senior assistant special counsel in charge of the prosecution has internal authority to conduct the prosecution separately from his role in the special counsel's office. So what that means is that if Mueller goes away, like if he's abducted by aliens, the lawyer in this case can continue to prosecute the case without him.
Wow.
And I think it's Weissman in this particular Manafort case. But it's not just Weissman, because as it turns out, there's a whole bunch of lawyers in the special counsel's office with that title.
They can all do it. They can all take over.
And one can assume that they would also have the authority to continue to prosecute their cases without the entire office of the special counsel. They could close down the whole office of special counsel, and these guys would continue to be able to continue their prosecutions.
It's like an army of Muellers.
Right.
It's beautiful.
It's like he cloned himself, and it's genius. I'm not sure if Rosenstein set this up or if Mueller set it up that way, but it's brilliant. It's like a built-in failsafe.
Oh,
He goes in and he's like, all right, I'm assigning this line of prosecution to you. I'm assigning this case to you. I'm assigning this case to you. You guys are all assistants to the special counsel, and you guys all have the authority to act without me. Wow. What?
Yeah. I love that.
I bet Manafort will sue.
Oh, he'll try.
He'll be like, no, you don't have that authority. I'm taking it away. On Tuesday, van der Zwaan was sentenced to 30 days in prison. The first guy in this whole thing to be sentenced. And he was fined $20,000. This is big to me. This touches my heart.
Oh, yeah.
The judge laid into this guy because he was whining about his privilege, like how, I don't want to go to jail. My wife's pregnant. I'm very rich.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm very tender. I have soft skin.
I'm attractive. I'll get molested in jail.
I look like Andy Dufresne. We all know what happened to him. He was popped in the Dopolis.
His pop got dop. No, his dop got popped.
Yeah, his dop got popping. And that's gross. Not that kind of sexual encounter. Papadopoulos is gross. I just think of his grossness.
Exactly. His face just comes to mind.
You do whatever you want to do it. Just don't do it with Papadopoulos or he'll gross me out. No, it's like between consenting adults is fine, but not between consenting Papadopoulos or Papadopouli. I don't know what the plural is.
Right. Papadopouli.
So anyway, he was whining about, my wife is pregnant. She's having given birth in August. I can't go to prison for 6 months. And the judge is like, look, I send people to prison who don't have families, or they have families, or they have children, or they have jobs that they're going to lose, or they don't have any money, or, any number of reasons. Your cries are falling on deaf ears because, because he said something like, my life, if I go to prison for 6 months, my life will be shattered.
Right.
And he's like, and the judge said something like, yeah, well, if your life will be shattered, imagine your life is a glass and I drop it on the floor and it shatters, you have a very thick carpet.
Exactly.
Like,
very good metaphor.
Yeah, like if I drop the glass of your life onto the floor, you have a big head start over a lot of people. So definitely. I don't want to hear your shit, Mr. Privilege.
I love that, Judge.
Have a seat and go to jail.
Yeah. Can you imagine how terrifying, not at all, that this is meant to be portrayed with any general amount of sympathy? Of course that sucks to go to prison, but when you deserve it, that's a different story.
Exactly.
But can you imagine being him and as privileged as he is, and he's just freaking the fuck out?
I mean, it is still jail. Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's federal prison, but I mean, I have this feeling that there's a white collar prison somewhere,
like in Goodfellas when they're cooking meals and stuff,
playing tennis.
And
yeah, Wolf of Wall Street is what comes to mind.
Yeah.
You got like a nice cell with the Tempur-Pedic and television, so you can probably listen to podcasts. So,
yeah, it's still America.
Hi.
Yeah, you can still buy anything.
That's bullshit. Prison's supposed to be the only place where like rich white people can be equalized in any way.
No. Hey, federal government though, if you really want to torture him, put Mueller, she wrote, and make that like the only thing he can listen to.
Yes,
over and over.
Brilliant idea. Let's petition that.
Hey, van der Zwaan, what's up? And only this episode, over and over.
Yeah, just this.
On into eternity.
That'd be great. Doesn't this suck? Doesn't this suck so bad?
So you can see van der Zwaan's sentencing memorandum and his plea agreement in my show notes in this week's newsletter. So patrons, look out for that.
Yeah.
In a presser Tuesday with 3 Baltic presidents, presser is what I call a press conference. With 3 Baltic presidents, Trump said, no other president in history has been tougher on Russia than he has.
Amazing.
And then went on to say that he and Putin could have a really great relationship.
2 bros chilling in the hot tub, 5 feet apart because they're not gay.
When you start in like a fucking space war and economic war and Cold War against them, then you can be in the running for being the toughest on Russia, maybe.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that I'm the toughest ever. And all I could think was, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. I'm not a Reagan fan by any means. I think the guy was an asshole.
Yeah, but that's a pretty epic moment.
But, he was tough on Russia. He was
Exactly.
tough.
You know what I think it is? I think it's because Trump and Putin are friends. He's like, hey, you guys don't realize how hard this is for me. This is the toughest any president has
That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
This is
it's
the
tough on him.
toughest. This is the toughest I've been on Putin ever. That's probably what he meant to say.
Exactly. He's being honest in his own way.
Yeah.
God, I fucking hate that guy.
I know.
Rod Rosenstein appointed an assistant on the Russia probe named O'Callahan, which just reminds me of like Dennis Leary's Irish drinking songs. His title is the Acting Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General.
Okay.
Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General. That's like the assistant number 2 president, undersecretary to the assistant of the special
second twice removed
assistant deputy of the guy. And I'm like, wow. So it's, Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General, PADAG, PADAG or PADAG. They call him the PADAG. He's basically the Deputy Attorney General's right hand. Mm-hmm. And he replaces a guy named Robert Hur, that's her, who was moved over to be the U.S. Attorney of Maryland. So that happened. I don't really know how much that makes a difference, but it happened, so I wanted to tell you. Washington Post came out with a story on Tuesday saying that Donald Trump is not a target of a criminal investigation in the Mueller probe.
And everyone freaked out.
I freaked out, yeah.
That upset a lot of people, and it pleased a lot of Trump.
Oh, yeah, all of Trump.
Most of Trump. It pleased his hair.
Yeah.
Everything but the face.
The deep pit of guilt was still disturbed.
There you go.
So, it pleased him and his supporters. There have been a ton of pods and blogs and tweets and conjecture about what this means. So let me see if I can break it down for you real quick. Here's what I've learned through extensive research this week. Last month, Mueller told Trump's lawyers that Trump is not a target in any criminal investigations. This is last month. It's important to note that the Washington Post report, the newspaper, the reporter, she got this information from the White House staff, who's Trump people, who heard it from Trump's lawyers, who interpreted what Mueller said.
Right.
So it went through a Trump filter.
Yeah.
So let's look at 3 things that you can be in an investigation. On the far, far one end, you can be a pure witness. Okay. And that's pretty rare. But that is a totally innocent person who has information pertinent to a criminal investigation, like a crime they witnessed.
Yeah.
Or no.
Bystander.
Right. Totally innocent bystander. That's a witness. So we've got witness. On the other end, all the way on the other end of the spectrum, are the targets. And these are people the grand jury intends to indict. These are people that we are going to bring charges against.
Yeah.
Everyone else in the middle is a subject of the investigation. So while the White House, and then there's me who has nothing to do with it, while the White House likes to say, quote, Trump's not a target of a criminal investigation, it's also accurate to say, quote, Trump is the subject of a criminal investigation.
Oh, yeah.
So like 6 and 1/2 dozen, like take it and put it in context. You can spin it however you want. Trump's not a target because they're not ready to indict him. It could be as simple as it's because they haven't interviewed him yet.
Right.
I'm going to go over this in detail and some of the theories I have a lot more in a mini-sode called Mueller's Endgame. So check that out this week. I think it comes out, I think it's the first one. I think it comes out right now.
Monday, yep.
Go check it out right now and then come back.
Right now.
We'll be here. That'd be funny. We're just sitting here Monday like,
waiting.
Are you back?
Just tweet us.
All right, so Mueller met with and questioned the CEO from Wikistrat. That's a Washington firm run by an oligarch, which I like. I feel like I want to call them Ollies from now on.
Oh, yeah.
And he worked, and his firm worked, Wikistrat worked for the UAE on geopolitical issues. UAE, Mbissa?
Right.
Right? And that part of the story broke Tuesday. Then later Wednesday, the New York Times reported that multiple oligarchs have been stopped and frisked at airports in relation to Nader and his connections to Russia now and the UAE. So Jordan, you're going to talk about that a little more in detail.
I will.
I'm so glad that oligarchs are getting stopped and frisked now, not just brown people. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's justice. That brings us to Wednesday, when audio of Roger Stone from an interview on InfoWars came to light. It's been there the whole time, but somebody brought it out and showed it to everyone. dusted it off because, we all listen to InfoWars.
Classic InfoWars.
Womp womp. And it showed him talking about the Hillary Clinton emails and the leaks on the same day he bragged to Nunberg in an email about dining with Assange.
Oh my God.
Oops. Of course, he denies it all, even though there's photos of him in Ecuador from Assange's Instagram account. He took a picture in front of a building with an Ecuadorian flag and a sign that says República de Ecuador.
Oh my God. He might as well have held a sign.
Is documenting his social life that important to potentially incriminate himself?
I mean, if you committed treason but didn't put it on Instagram, did it even happen,
Yeah.
He's done it so many times though. Like he sucks at hiding. He just sucks at hiding.
They're all attention whores. That's their worst flaw.
That's their downfall, right? Mm-hmm. Wednesday night, we learned that Michael Bolton is facing... Not Michael Bolton, I'm just kidding. John Bolton is facing ethical conflicts of interest.
Oh, yeah?
As the incoming National Security Advisor. No.
Oh, my God.
Did I not say this last week? He's he's personally involved in 2 ongoing criminal investigations.
You called it.
The NRA, Russia money thing, and anyway, just whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, Jaleesa, you're going to break that down for us later.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm looking forward to this because I just can't wait to hear what he might or might not have to say for himself.
It's a good one. Yeah.
We also found out this week that it was 87 million users that got their Facebook data stolen. Not 50 million, God. 87 million. The FTC investigation, Federal Trade Commission investigation is still going on. Facebook is on an apology tour right now. The COO or the...
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. Hashtag sorry, not sorry tour.
Yeah.
And she's going around saying, we've learned our lesson. We've learned a lesson. And that's really funny because you violated your consent decree in 2011 and settled out of court. So,
not very sorry, it seems.
Doesn't seem like it.
Third time's a charm.
Mm-hmm. I hope they go down like MySpace with less dignity.
But what are we going to have our discussion group on?
We'll move it. We'll find a place.
Facebook hasn't even sent out a generalized message to everybody yet.
No, but they constantly post about all kinds of random crap except for this. Yeah.
Yeah, with their weird disproportionate human bodies
today's
that they now
burrito
use
day.
on the
Share a burrito with a friend.
Share a burrito. I ordered a pizza from DoorDash and they didn't deliver it to me, and they sent me a very
apologetic.
Nice, yeah. It was a promotion for free pizza
BJ's
day. I
free
really
pizza?
had. Yes,
dude, I was all on that. Yeah, freebies.
Oh my God, I ordered at 9. It was gonna come to me a few hours later, and then no pizza.
Yeah,
but then they sent out a mass apology email.
I got one too because it was late. They're all. But why can't they do this? Why can't Facebook just give us the courtesy of an apology email?
Yeah, no pizza versus no privacy.
Facebook should send us pizza.
Oh yeah. They're like, hey guys, we got a pizza party coming.
Yeah. I forgive you for everything.
Hashtag sorry not sorry pepperoni for you.
I love it.
Mushrooms for our
Zuckerberg's just personally
friends.
Dishing out ice cream cones for people.
I probably would forgive him. That's the sad thing.
He would have to accommodate all the gluten-free people and the vegans and stuff. And I'd be like, that serves you right, Dick.
Yeah. So true.
That he probably surrounds himself with in Northern California.
All right, China released its list of products that it's going to slap import taxes on from the U.S., the whole trade war or escalation or whatever that Trump is starting. Because he said 50 million. And they go, all right, us 50 billion too. And then he goes, I'm going to make it 100 billion.
Oh my God.
And then stocks tanked, and we still haven't heard what they're going to do back. But they put a list out of shit they're going to slap import taxes on. So we have soybeans, tobacco, whiskey, meat, and pork.
Wait, what are the Midwesterners going to do?
Exactly.
It's clearly strategically aimed at Trump voters. These are Midwestern farmers, meat farmers, and Rust Belt and Southern tobacco farmers. It's almost like China hired Cambridge Analytica to target Trump voters.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The tariff story really has nothing to do with Russia. I brought in Cambridge Analytica into it. So to me, it does.
We're chilling in California.
Yeah.
We're unfazed by
like,
those pretty
what?
much.
Yeah,
we do like our soy, so
except for the families
we don't grow
that
it.
remain that
That's
we
true.
all went to the coast for.
Yeah.
There's that too. Yeah, all of the homes we left are like we're fucked.
Yeah, that is fucking shitty.
Yeah. Well, these guys, I think these farmers, they are hardworking people.
Absolutely.
And it does take
They deserve better.
Some brains
They do,
to run a fucking farm.
Exactly.
So, and I've seen some of these guys and women too. All these farmers in the Midwest who are really a backbone of this country. Although I think California
absolutely.
agriculture is pretty huge too.
I mean, agriculture in
totally.
general. You're totally right.
But I've heard them like they aren't down for this, and it's not like this is so obviously Trump's trade war. It's his tariffs. They can't blame it on anything else, and I think that'll show in November.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Thursday, something interesting happened. The judge in the Manafort case filed a minute order. A minute order is a court's answer to a party's request, basically. So this minute order was...
I'm only going to spend a minute on this. That's how stupid it was.
You have 10 seconds left. This minute order was in response to Manafort's motion to dismiss all the charges against him. So Manafort seeks dismissal for 2 reasons. First, Manafort says that Mueller should never have been appointed at all, so none of this matters. And second... Manafort says Mueller went outside of his scope. Even if, let's say he was appointed properly, he went outside the scope of his jurisdiction when he investigated Manafort. And he was looking into all those things, so he wasn't given permission. Well, as you know, Mueller filed that response that had that Rod Rosenstein memo that was redacted.
Yeah.
But it was that internal memo that detailed all the things that basically spelled out what Mueller was allowed to look into. And for Manafort, as I explained, those things were the millions of dollars he got working for Yanukovych and the alleged crimes he was committing by colluding with Russians to meddle in the election.
Yeah.
So the judge dismissed the second count. They're like, they have a memo saying he can do it. But the minute order gives Manafort a chance to rewrite his request, his brief, to dismiss the first count, alleging that Mueller should have never been appointed in the first place. And interestingly, it says, quote, and that the defendant wants prospective relief, including an order enjoining special counsel's future ultra vires exercise of the authority in the appointment order. So and that's mouthy and wordy, but basically what it says is, quote, I want relief from pending and future indictments if you find Mueller should have never been appointed.
Wow.
So basically, if you find Mueller should have never been appointed and then there's another indictment, that goes under here.
You gotta let it go. Yeah.
So I'll speak more to this later in the show. And a picture of the minute order is in our newsletter this week, so check it out.
Nice.
Trump floated the idea of replacing Jeff Sessions with Scott Pruitt earlier this week, but now he's saying he doesn't want to make the switch. Showing, first of all, he's not bothered by all of the allegations against Pruitt, which
he never is.
Yeah, but this guy is ridiculous.
He's a new one. You're right. Yeah.
And it's interesting because he spent millions and millions and millions of taxpayer dollars just doing vacation shit, like obvious vacation shit that he's apologized for. And they got rid of Shulkin for going on a business trip and taking his wife with him. And they fired him for that.
Yeah, even though he paid it back, right? That was the idea. Yeah, but this guy...
And he also cleared
it. He got called out.
And he also cleared it with ethics.
Yeah.
Before he took his wife on the trip. Now, it's a 40-hour work week he went. It wasn't a vacation like this Morocco thing that Pruitt went on with all of his people. But Pruitt gets to stay and Shulkin has to go. It's because Shulkin was blocking privatization of the VA.
Exactly.
And Pruitt wants the world to die.
Yeah, so. It's corruption. Classic corruption.
It's classic. This guy sucks my dick and you don't. So bye.
This swamp, the
It's not fair. I think Shulkin might have done it on, anniversaries or birthdays.
Just make it feel a little special first.
Yeah. And the other thing it shows is he's still toying with the idea of fucking with the Department of Justice, ergo fucking with the Mueller probe. One theory is he wants to push Sessions to resign. Because if he resigns, Trump can backfill using the Vacancies Act, which means he can just handpick a replacement. So I think he's trying to push him to resign. And I think maybe that was another thing they talked about at dinner, him and Noel and Rod.
Oh, yeah.
When they sat down, they're like, dude, he's going to be a dick to you for the next... You hang in there.
Gotta suck it up.
Hang in there, you little
Everyone's
racist
been
possum.
in that position. Just play dead.
I love it. Digging through the trash.
You were saying everyone's been in that position at a time or two?
Yeah, a time or two. When you got someone that's just like real shitty. That's a boss, and
like when your boss takes you to Freedom Fest.
Yeah,
Pew pew. I can't help but think of that.
and just treat you like crap until you quit.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just have to sit there and it's like, well, do I stand my ground or do I endure all this bullshit?
So they don't have to pay unemployment insurance.
Yeah, basically.
Well, if you're in the government, you endure the bullshit.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know
all about that, AG.
I do. I've endured some bullshit.
I believe in people turning their lives around, okay? Have you ever listened to those TED Talks of people that were white nationalists and they had hate tattoos and now they work for amazing organizations?
I love that.
Jeff Sessions could be that person.
He could be the
turn
best
around.
example.
Yeah, him and Rosenstein, all of them.
That would be great.
He should adopt little black babies from Africa.
But the stuff he wants...
That might be a little suspect. Maybe a little over the top.
The stuff he goes against, though, is so old. Like, what would he do? Say, you know what? I don't favor Jim Crow laws. Like, that's a long time ago, buddy.
Yeah, you're right.
Like the white nationalist stuff. That's a little current. But what is he gonna do? Like, all right, I won't lynch anyone anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's progress.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, he's just old fashioned.
Yeah, I'll say it again. Hang in there, you racist little possum. I never thought I'd be rooting.
I know.
For him to not be fired.
Yeah, that keeps happening.
But Mueller kind of depends on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Then two crazy stories dropped on Thursday night. First, the McClatchy report. I love the McClatchy report. They ran a story that Mueller, armed with subpoenas, showed up at the house of a Trump business associate, confiscated all their electronic records and documents and devices, and questioned that person about Trump's business dealings abroad. Specifically, they were asking about interactions with Michael Cohen. Wow. Now, I think this was Felix Sater. Or maybe Sergei Milian. Put some beans on it.
Put some beans on it, yeah.
And I credit Dallas McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Because I think it was that. And I think it has to do with the Trump Tower Moscow, too.
Yeah.
Remember? Because that's when Sater and Cohen were trying to cobble together that deal for another Trump Tower during the election. Not the first one with Amin Agalarov
when
and
Trump
his
was
dad.
Yeah, running as an independent, right? That time.
Trump was running as a Republican.
Oh, okay.
Trump was never an independent.
Okay, my bad. I thought he
only when he was switching over his
just
life from one side to the other.
Yeah. No, what I was saying is there's two Trump towers in Moscow. The first one was the Agalarovs, the singer, and the around the whole Miss Universe time.
Yeah, yeah.
The second one is when he was running. He was a candidate. He was a candidate for president, and at that point, Sater and his Trump's lawyer Cohen. We're trying to cobble together this deal with a VTB bank, a sanctioned Russia bank, to build a Trump tower, trying again. And Ivanka was involved, and she was going to have a spa in the tower.
So that's why Sater is a very likely person in that pick.
Yeah, because it said that it was a Trump business associate. It was somebody who was involved in Trump's dealings, property dealings abroad, and specifically interactions with Cohen. So that's why I think it's Sater.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Put a pin in it. Put some beans on it. Whatever you want. I'll come up with something, you guys.
I like
Put
it.
a bird on it.
Put a bird on it. That's
Put
nice.
some stank on it. Yeah.
Put some stank on it. Then, in a court filing of warrants in the Manafort case, part of Discovery, we learned that Manafort was served a warrant as recently as March 9th, you guys, for 5 mobile devices, phones. Because totally innocent dudes carry around 5 phones.
Yeah.
Only drug dealers.
And he had these in March 9th. And one of the warrant affidavits said, quote, information relating to ongoing investigations that are not the subject of current prosecutions involving Manafort. So I'm going to talk a little more about the implications of that later. I think it's pretty big.
Yeah, I just imagine it like when someone has to turn over their guns. When they walk into like a mob dealing, they're like, all right, turn over your firearms. They put in one. All of them. He's like pulls out all of his phones,
like in their shoe
strapped
or
to his
something.
ankles.
Right, in Miss Congeniality, where she's pulling shit all out of her everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And then she's got phones.
And she's got donuts in her bra.
We should use more Miss Congeniality clips. That's a great
true.
movie.
That's a great movie.
I love her. I love Sandra Bullock.
Can you imagine if Mueller was a woman? That would be...
It would be Sandra Bullock.
Oh my God.
100%. She should play Mueller in the
air.
all-female version of the movie. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And all the dudes will be mad, like, don't steal it like you did Ghostbusters and Star Wars.
Yeah, we'll get Kate McKinnon in there somewhere too. Jeff
She
Sessions
has to be in everything.
100%. Melissa McCarthy. Wow, the whole Ghostbusters gang is just going to do the Mueller movie.
Well, yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's interesting. Let's see. Friday. Now we're going to go on to Friday. The U.S. Treasury imposed some actually some pretty toothy sanctions, you guys, against Russian oligarchs. Much like the sanctions that the national security guys under Obama wanted to impose during the election, but ultimately did not because Obama didn't want to appear as though he was trying to affect the outcome of the election.
Right.
Like, these are sanctions on individual oligarchs, you know? Mm-hmm. Included in there was Deripaska. That's the guy who sued Manafort and got private briefings out of him via Konstantin Kilimnik. He's on the sanctions list, as is Putin's daughter and son-in-law.
Oh.
And, Jordan, you'll be happy to know, Alexander Torshin.
Nice.
Okay.
Is on that list. So he's the guy, the NRA guy, the Russian guy who's like set, you know, Kremlin connection.
Follow the money.
I'm wondering if they don't leak dirt in retaliation for this on Trump and his family.
Yeah. What do you think about him doing that?
Because Russia can't really sanction our oligarchs. Like, like no one's going to be sad that, that we can't do business dealings in Russia or around the, like, he can't do that the way we can do it to him.
Right. They only have so many options of retaliation.
Right. And I'm wondering
but they
if
have some pretty intense ones.
Like polonium tea.
Yeah.
well, I was thinking they have a lot of compromise.
Yeah, exactly.
What if they start leaking that shit?
Yeah. Oh, please, PP tape now.
We'll have to
It's time.
We'll have to keep our ears out for
I feel like as Trump is getting closer and all of his inner circle is getting closer and closer to getting actual prison time and getting indicted and charged, I feel like he's trying to seem like he's on the right side of history or something when he's like sort of backtracking all of the things that he's done a little bit.
Yeah. It's a Hail Mary move.
I wouldn't be surprised if he even negotiated with Putin that he was going to do that or something.
Just to make it look easier. Yeah. As a last resort.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe that was the White House and the Joint Chiefs and the national security and intelligence community, and Trump is telling his aides not to say anything, and he's because Trump hasn't said a word about it.
Yeah, either way, it's kind of
makes more sense.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what Russia does in response to this, because we sanctioned Putin's son-in-law. What's he going to do to Kushner?
If they underreact, that would be more of a testament to the fact that it was a, like, sort of calculated.
Like they're waiting for something bigger.
or I don't know. Yeah, just like they're trying to put a blanket over it as much as they can. So, because ultimately, if their deal is the one that we talk about, that transatlantic trade deal, basically, and that's their end goal, then if they could just get through this period and still keep power and be able to.
Yeah, but I don't know. Putin's main thing is sanctions. That's his number one fucking priority in the world.
Yeah.
If his oligarchs can't make money to give to him.
Yeah.
Forcibly?
Because he has so much. $300 billion, they think?
Yeah, something like
That's
that.
Insane.
Is there a way, like when we expelled 60 Russian diplomats and then, or spies and then said that they could just bring 60 back? Do you think there's a sort of under the table thing that...
I don't see anything. I don't see anything, but... I mean, it's hard. Sanctions are sanctions, and these were put on by the U.S. Treasury.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't do dealing. You can't do business deals.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see, though. Like I said, that's why I'm wondering if they're going to respond with something like compromat instead of what else can they do?
Exactly.
Yeah. So now they're not working together anymore. Trump is actually just trying to defend himself as much as he
can.
They're
probably on the rocks.
I don't know if this is Trump.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Trump has been silent about it. And he might be doing that so that he doesn't upset his boyfriend. I don't know. Yeah. Two dudes sitting in a hot tub. Then, new documents obtained by Mueller from Nader contradict Prince's assertion, that's not the singer, that the Seychelles meeting wasn't anything more than a chance meeting over a beer. You know, that's what
we just found ourselves here at this fucking, where were they?
Yeah.
The Seychelles at the Four
it was like a Four
Seasons.
Seasons.
Is there a lullaby?
Looking over the Indian Ocean.
A Russian, an Arab, and an American walk into the Four Seasons. I've heard it
by
before.
total coincidence.
Right? Or like one of those children's tunes, like Russian Cell, like something by the Seychelles. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Seychelles by the
Sally.
seashore.
Yeah. There's something there. We'll work on it.
I don't know, but holy shit. Yeah, all just happened to be in the Seychelles all at the same time with all the same goals.
At least say you're just talking about something else.
Well, so apparently Nader turned over documents that prove that's all bullshit. He did go there to meet with Russians. He did, and we knew he did. We knew he did already. We've been reporting about the Seychelles meeting, since November or December?
Yeah.
But now we have proof, so...
Yeah. That's always fun.
This is really cool now that all the things we were initially reporting on are starting to just get filled out. All the details.
We're not totally crazy.
Yeah.
All of our predictions are coming true.
Oh, yeah. It feels good.
Also, Friday, we learned that Trump is beginning to start to think about getting ready to maybe prepare for a possible interview with Mueller.
Okay.
He has not publicly agreed to sit down with Mueller, but I'm still excited about this.
Yeah.
Trump, if you're listening, talk to Mueller, dude. We dare you.
Why not, man?
They're still figuring out the technology of getting the microphone in his ear.
There you
detected.
go. Yeah. Very smart.
So there's a few things the reason they could be doing this, Trump's lawyers. They could be testing Trump to determine if they're going to advise him to talk to Mueller at all. Mm-hmm. They may be grilling him to convince the president he shouldn't talk to Mueller, but probably they know that an interview is inevitable.
Yeah.
If Trump refuses, Mueller could subpoena him and force him to testify, and
Looks worse.
He can't refuse because of the legal precedent set in the Nixon and Clinton investigations.
Thank you, Nixon.
There's the law.
God.
Supreme Court went all the way up to Supreme Court. No, you have to do it. Mm-hmm. But then he could plead the fifth, but that looks really bad.
Yeah.
Though it may be the way to go for this president. He could convince his base and his GOP congressional brown nosers
I do not recall.
to back him up, saying, yeah, don't talk to that biased and corrupt Mueller. Yeah,
Exactly.
we back you up, dude. Plead the fifth, bro. Yeah.
They keep saying it's a trap. They keep using that as if somehow that's like a real thing to say about a president.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
A perjury trap is when somebody, like, on purpose,
A liar.
gets you to sit down,
Yeah.
and tricks you into lying.
Because you were already going to lie.
No, this is different.
Oh, really? So that's a real thing? Perjury traps are
Perjury
real?
trap is, it's like entrapment.
I didn't know that.
It's like when you put a bike out that's not locked and you're a cop and you hide behind the bushes.
Oh, you're right. They do that.
That's a perjury.
Yeah.
So perjury trap means I'm a cop and I'm going to sit you down and I'm going to trap you into lying so that I can get you.
Okay.
But what this is him asking Trump questions.
But there's no doubt that Mueller wants him to give him, like, because I mean, as this whole podcast is indicating that Mueller wants to charge Trump, I would think, is that he wants to, I mean, he just wants to get the truth, but it all points towards Trump. So
I don't know.
I guess, you know what, Mueller just wants to hear whatever Trump has to say.
He has to interview Trump as part
Right.
of this investigation, and he will.
But I can't help but think that.
But
deep
it's not a
down inside
trap,
there-
and people need to
Right.
stop effing calling it a perjury trap because that's not what this is. That's
an interview.
You're insinuating Mueller is somehow going to
Vindictive or something, yeah.
He's sneaky going to get him, and it's like no, he's going to ask him questions, and if the president fucking lies, it's because he fucking lied, not because he was trapped.
I was going to say, calling a perjury trap should be a term that does not apply to a criminal.
It's like
That's unfair.
It's like the pregnancy trap. Like she trapped me with the pregnancies.
come on.
Well, don't put your dick inside of her.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Oh God. Ugh.
Preach.
Anyway, sorry. I get a little angry sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't have any children. Also on Friday, we learned that a guy named Schmitz, who sounds like something's on your mouth. You got some Schmitz on your mouth. He's one of the OG members of Trump's Security Council.
Oh, yeah.
You know the photo with Sessions and Papadop and Clovis and Gordon and Trump and all them? Mm-hmm. Well, Schmitz is in that picture too. And he was hunting for Hillary's emails on the dark web, and he eventually tried to turn them over to government agencies. So that came out.
Yeah.
And then I found an article in Bloomberg saying that Kushner wants to buy out and is going to buy out his partner in the 666 Satan Tower property.
Okay.
Which is weird because Kushner is fucking broke. He owes $1.2 billion on that tower.
Where's the money coming
minus $500 million, so he owes $0.7 billion on that thing. And he's been running around the world asking for handouts from Ongbong Bank in China and the Qataris, who both turned him down. Then he got that $500 million loan from Citigroup and Apollo I told you about after promising one of the CEOs he could be Secretary of the Army.
Yeah.
That's not nearly enough to cover it, but we do know that Kushner might have leaked U.S. intelligence to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
That's right.
Which led Mohammed bin Salman to rounding up all the people in the palace that were disloyal to the crown. Remember that? So maybe there's some squid pro quo there.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of squid pro quo.
Super shady. Watch that, though. Where's he going to get the fucking money for that?
Yeah. And what happens if he doesn't get the money exactly?
He gets murdered. Oh, no, that's a terrible thing to say.
He's way more in debt.
Yeah, but that's it, right? There's really nothing else.
Who are the
other than
people
that.
he owes? Like, are they mobsters? Are they big
No,
time?
he owes the bank.
Yeah,
Just like American banks?
Declare bankruptcy.
On the 666 Fifth Avenue property?
He'll be fine.
Would he
I have
even-
library fines?
That would just be
No,
tied.
the $1.2 billion loan is coming due, right now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, and he's going to...
Would he personally have to declare bankruptcy, or would it just be on behalf of the company?
I really don't know.
I wonder.
He's probably protected through LLC.
Yeah.
Could
Something
just
tells me he'll be okay.
Take after his
I'm surprised
father-in-law
he's trying so hard, honestly.
and declare one of those bankruptcies. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I think he's desperate at this point.
For sure.
I don't understand why he's doing it. Hey, you know
But
what?
it's my hell.
You know what? I owe $1 billion. I owe $1 billion on this building. Why not owe $2 billion? Well, you know what's $1 billion? What's $1 billion a month?
Aim for
That's
the
true. It's
moon.
like when you go to gamble for the first time and you're down by like 100. It's like I'm gonna get back up.
Double or nothing.
I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah, but he's doing this on fucking purpose. I don't get it. Like he's just hand me more debt.
He's a rich man that's bad with money, which blows my mind.
That's the whole family is that way. Then, you guys, really late on Friday night, Manafort filed a motion to suppress evidence that Mueller got when he raided his storage locker and grabbed a bunch of boxes of files, like 20 boxes of files. What? And Manafort wants to dismiss, he's saying, you got to suppress that evidence because he's saying that his pal at the storage place didn't have the authority to let the FBI in.
Oh my God. I couldn't date him. Like, if I caught him cheating, he would just be like, well, how dare you invade my privacy?
Yeah, he's just desperate at this point, I think. I have photos of the motion and what was in the boxes. I have lists of what was in the boxes, and that'll be in my show notes this week, so check that out if you're a patron. Wow, that was a lot of news, you guys. We will be right back. It costs a lot to make a podcast. In addition to the hours of research and scripting, there's editing, producing, equipment upgrades, hosting fees, web design, shipping, subscriber management fees, our wine budget. It can really add up, you guys. In fact, we're still in the red and we could really use your help. That's where you come in. Our patrons not only help us make this podcast, but you help us continually improve the quality and content. You can support women in podcasting and help make our show better, and in return, you get exclusive content, a newsletter, bonus episodes, and thank you gifts. So please consider donating, even if it's just $1. It helps tremendously. Please visit MuellerSheWrote.com and click subscribe today. And thanks for listening. Okay, we're back. Thank you. That was the longest news we've ever had.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
That was real long.
I wanted to make sure I explained everything. There were so many things. If I'd have just been like, minute order was filed and things happened. Hey, have a nice day. You'd be like, what does that even mean?
This is why we're here. We go in depth.
Yes, I like to. I just like to explain it my own way, and so sometimes it takes a minute.
I like it.
Okay, well, anyway. I'm going to hand it over to Jaleesa here. She's going to tell us about what's going on with Michael Bolton. I mean John Bolton.
Yes, John Bolton, our new national security advisor and half man, half mustache, has been meeting. He's been meeting with White House.
She didn't run that joke by me. That's a good one.
Thank you. I was hoping you'd appreciate it.
You got me off guard.
It's true, though. Very big mustache. So he's been meeting with White House attorneys about his potential conflicts of interest. So first of all,
I'm sorry.
No.
I have to interrupt you. Have you seen the Muppet movie?
I have. Yes, the guy. I know who you're talking about.
And, Flight of the Conchords guy wrote the music for that.
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
And he won an Oscar for it.
Wow.
But that, am I a man or am I a Muppet? Am I a Muppet of a man? I'm just like, am I a mustache?
That's perfect.
Am I a man?
Oh, I love that
I'm a mustache of a man. I'm a very mustachy man.
He's very Muppet-like, too. It's a good point.
He is. He looks like the Swedish Chef. Anyway,
really
I'm so
does.
sorry for interrupting.
No.
Now I want to do that parody. Flight of the Conchords guy, if you're there,
Let's
call
make
me
it
up.
happen.
Britt. His name's Britt. Let's do it.
Oh, very nice. So first of all, the John Bolton Super PAC has been a huge player in the early stages of this year's midterm elections. Yeah, very big. So far, they've raised $3.8 million, including funding from this year's top Republican donor, Richard Uihlein.
3.8 million mustaches.
Oh, yes. I like that. This guy, Uihlein, his company is worth nearly $2 billion. So he's the biggest Republican donor, and Bolton got him. So I figure, like we said before, Bolton's hiding all that money in his mustache. That's why he keeps it, It only makes sense. I digress. According to CNBC, Bolton's PACs are a cause for concern because even though they've recently stopped receiving donations, they still have all that money they've already collected. And they even spent $1.2 million already on political ads and polls alone. So they have very serious political spending power. That's why watchdog groups like Common Cause have made Bolton's PAC spending budgets known to the public, resulting in several legal complaints to the FEC.
Yeah, it's so sad that like 4 guys can make billions of dollars of donations, and then us, the people, we're capped at $2,400. Most of us send $10.
Yeah, we're in the red.
But like still somehow we can outraise them.
It's crazy. It's crazy. You're right about that. Obama too, good example about
that. Ever since
power of the people, small donations.
Yeah, ever since Citizens United though, since you can allow corporations to donate to
corporations are people, my friend.
Well, then they should pay the
I
same
guess
taxes.
technically they're run by flesh, but that's like
I know what he meant, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough for someone like me to hear that. So all of the filed complaints, coincidentally, are in retaliation to Bolton's PACs and their relationship with the political data firm Cambridge Analytica. So, yeah.
I never heard of Cambridge Analytica.
Yeah, it's just a little interesting company. So, as we've covered before, CamAna is a company under major scrutiny for gaining access to now 87 million Facebook accounts and distributing user data to the Trump campaign in 2016. So in 2014, Bolton's super PAC spent $340,000 on, quote, research from Cambridge Analytica, and then $800,000 more the next year. So they're really invested in CamAna. And meanwhile, not many people knew exactly what kind of research was going on there. So in March, we learned, this March, from the New York Times, that Bolton was purchasing services from CamAna for, quote, behavioral micro-targeting with psychographic messaging, as we've mentioned in previous episodes. But the FEC has yet to acknowledge whether or not they're investigating Bolton's super PAC. So, yeah. They clearly have some sketchy things going on, but we don't know what's being done about it. There are also questions about Bolton's role as chairman of a nonprofit group called the Foundation of American Security and Freedom. Sounds very Republican. Yeah, it's totally like a generator of Republican words.
Yeah, it's like the same person that named the Patriot Act.
Exactly, yeah. So Bolton actually stepped down from his post in this group.
Freedom Fest.
Yeah, pew pew. So Bolton stepped down from his post in this group in March and announced that he would take his name off the website this month. And I actually checked today, and he did take his name off. So yeah, I guess everything's fine. However,
nothing to see here.
Yeah, exactly.
Pay no attention to the man behind the mustache.
Exactly, yes. Ethics attorneys outside of the White House are pretty skeptical about whether or not Bolton's two PACs are actually even shutting down. And here's the thing. I realized or learned recently that just because Bolton is starting to work for the White House doesn't mean that he's legally required to dissolve his PACs. Specifically, the Hatch Act doesn't require the PACs to dissolve. And the law says federal employees, quote, may not campaign for or against candidates or otherwise engage in political activity, but it doesn't demand that political organizations be eliminated just because they were previously run by a current White House official.
Okay. So people, so corporations are people except when it comes to the Hatch Act.
Exactly. Yeah, so a rep at the Office of Special Counsel said that as long as Bolton's PAC wasn't raising or spending any money while he worked in the White House, it could still keep his name and would not be violating the Hatch Act. That's a bitch.
Maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should form a PAC.
Oh, there you go.
And then I can use my real name.
A super PAC, unlimited patrons.
It could be. It could be any PAC.
Yeah.
And then I can use my name.
Mm-hmm. And we'll be good.
We wouldn't have to tell anyone where we get our money.
You're totally right.
That makes sense.
There's a loophole. Legally.
That's the loophole.
Yeah, the loophole does exist. It just sucks that crappy people are making use of it because they have the best lawyers and the most money and
the government worker super PAC.
Yeah. There are good rich people out there for the record, though.
Like 4, yeah.
So, okay, just to wrap it all up. Sorry,
I didn't know you were... Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no worries. This is my last point. This is my conjecture of it all. So we've got a federal employee whose name is also on the name of a paused, I guess, super PAC, and whether or not they're currently receiving funds seems irrelevant to me. I feel like it's called a conflict of interest, right? Not a conflict of incoming funds. So the idea is that, the general idea of the Hatch Act is that anyone who's a high-level official at the White House even should not be maintaining a super PAC on any level. And this guy here clearly has access. I mean, even if it's not accepting money right now, he can pick it right back up when it's done. And that's where it gets really sketchy. So...
Yeah, I mean, he could shut it down, but he could open it again.
Exactly.
So, why bother going through all that?
Right. It just doesn't look good. I know that it's not necessarily illegal.
He doesn't look good for so many reasons.
Exactly. Yeah. He's just a crappy guy. So, yeah. But that's that.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Sorry I had to make you talk about Mustache Man.
No worries. It made it better. I appreciate it.
The Stash. No, but that's Iron Stash. We have to save that name for Iron
Stash. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's fantastic. All right. Wow. You were right. The new national security advisor was already personally associated with 2 ongoing intelligence investigations. So we talked about that last week. You're right. You're absolutely right. Jordan, you have an update on George Nader and how he's not just UAE anymore.
Exactly, yeah. So Mr. George Nader had established ties to the UAE that were disclosed and everyone knew about. But up until this point, he had undisclosed ties to Russia. Until now. But
dun, dun, dun,
yeah.
dun.
Also, the least surprising thing that he has ties to Russia.
The what thing?
That he has ties to Russia.
Oh,
as well.
well, I suppose there's that.
Yeah. So Nader's a Lebanese, just for a refresher course, he's a Lebanese-American businessman. He's currently cooperating with Mueller. He's not a target of the investigation, but he is definitely a super essential.
He's got full immunity.
Oh, yeah.
Partial immunity.
I was gonna say partial.
Okay.
Yeah. He has partial. He has partial immunity, and at this point, it looks like Mueller's gonna start interviewing a lot of other people just to corroborate what Nader is saying.
Right.
Which is really
Is
cool.
that the stop and frisk the oligarchs types of stuff? That's happening?
Yeah.
That's like a corroboration. Mm-hmm. God, he's so thorough.
Yes.
I wonder what he's probably a thorough lover.
Ooh, pleases his partners. Yeah.
He probably has horses, which is kind of annoying, but they're thoroughbreds.
Yeah.
So stupid. My family has
Arabians.
horses. Horses are great. I have no issue against horses.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're
why I even said
Arabians to
that.
piss off the Republicans.
Yeah. Yeah. I said it's annoying in the Mitt Romney dressage way, but if
The Mitt Romney dressage way. That is the best joke of the
Definitely.
Thank you for that.
so
Binders of horses.
binders of them. So basically, Nader is establishing himself as someone that has been to and has helped set up a lot of meetings, and these are really important meetings that we've all heard about. And he's
got Outlook.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
for
setting up
sure.
he's setting up meetings.
for sure. More. That was a nice Microsoft reference.
That's our sponsor. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yet somehow we're still in the red.
So, for example, Mr. Nader used his super long-standing ties to Kirill Dmitriev, the manager of a state-run Russian investment fund, to set up the meeting in the Seychelles. And this was between Dmitriev and a Trump advisor. This was only days before Trump took office, too. Very fresh.
Oh, yeah.
But and then the Russians, I meant the Republicans, but it's the same thing. They're like, why would you need a back channel if you've already been talking to everybody? That was what they were doing.
Yeah.
All right. So it was,
The purpose was to establish a back channel communication
a
line.
Russian, an American, and an Arab walk into a bar.
Exactly. Yeah, this
At the
happened
Four Seasons.
at the Four Seasons Hotel, overlooking the Indian Ocean.
I want to go there.
I know. It sounds really nice.
Kickstarter.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think a lot of the places where a lot of corrupt dealings are established would be lovely vacation
Very
destinations.
paradise. Yeah, paper
Four Seasons
types.
are. I've
Yeah,
stayed
top
once.
notch.
Oh, really?
at Four
Ooh.
Seasons.
Nice.
Drake
Me
raps
too.
about
I
it
did
a
it
lot.
once on tour. It was
Amazing, right?
Yeah, it's fucking nice.
It's head and shoulders above anything else. I've stayed
yeah.
at Ritz-Carltons, and they're pretty good.
Oh.
And then down here you got your Marriotts and stuff.
Yeah.
But Four Seasons.
Number
Yeah.
one. I love it.
They're going to sponsor us, I think.
Oh, nice. Four Seasons. So, yes, they're meeting at the Four Seasons Hotel overlooking the Indian Ocean. That's one of the examples of some of the meetings he set up. Investigators have asked witnesses about a meeting that Nader attended in 2017 with a New York hedge fund manager, where he was joined by Kushner and Bannon, who at the time were both senior advisors to Mr. Trump. Mueller's team stops Joel Zamel, who's an Australian entrepreneur with ties to the UAE, after he landed at a Washington area airport, according to people briefed on the matter. The investigators questioned this entrepreneur about Mr. Nader, including Nader's relationship with Russia and his contacts with Trump's advisors, as well as the movement of money from the UAE into the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So much money had to have gone.
Oh, yeah.
From UAE to the U.S.
Yeah.
And the best part is Nader has it all. That's probably why he was given partial immunity.
He has the most information about that.
That's mega.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, he's been working on behalf of UAE for a long time, and everyone's kind of known that. And he really is he just pops up everywhere in between all of the.
And you wonder sometimes, like,
he's a huge missing link.
These guys that do shit like that, like, you have to think, like, eventually they're going to be like, one day the jig will be up. But for now, party!
Yeah.
And so now they're like,
Until
okay.
someone connects all the dots.
They're like, all right, jig is up. Can I get immunity? I'll tell you everything. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's how they operate.
That is
Absolutely.
it. Yeah. And right now, like we talked about, he has partial immunity. So I don't know. I don't imagine Mueller's actually going to do anything to him, really. It seems like he's a huge asset right now in the investigation because he's fully cooperating. You don't get partial cooperation for partial immunity. It's
bigger than Flynn. Because Flynn doesn't have partial immunity.
Exactly.
No one. He's the only one so far that has partial immunity, which means he has in my opinion, I'm guessing, he has the most valuable information.
I think so too, especially just about the big picture stuff because it's UAE and Russia.
Definitely.
And it's just such a history. Earlier that year, Mr. Nader also, this is earlier, I think we're in 2012 here. Earlier that year, Mr. Nader also attended the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, which is an invitation-only conference organized by senior officials close to Putin and Russia.
Of course.
God, they're so good at naming shit.
They really are.
Like, what was that Veselnitskaya joint she put together? Like the Anti-Human Rights Association.
The liberty and rights
liberty
of everyone
and
that
America love.
Russia loves. Yeah, exactly.
They're effective. We
the
gotta
Motherland
admit.
Foundation of Human Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just
Credit where credit is due. Whoever's naming these groups is great.
We should come up with like a Republican PAC name generator.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd
We
be
should.
fun.
If anyone writes code.
That'd be really fun.
If anyone writes code, get in touch with me because
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that, but that would be hilarious.
That
to
would
The
me.
be-
Freedom for
that'd be
White
super funny.
Americans group.
Yeah. Well, that's too obvious.
Nope,
It's
you
got to
can't
be
You
subtle.
can't be overt.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's an art. It's subtle.
You got to be
Yeah.
like. You got to be like.
Racism is a subtle art, Lisa.
That is the most true thing I've ever heard.
It's got to be like hardworking farmers of the Midwest coalition,
Yes.
or some.
Yeah.
We need a
Yeah.
name generator.
We'll get
Yeah,
on
we
it.
do.
We'll get on it.
Contact me, coders.
Yeah. And this was a fun fact that I learned when I read this, when I did some research into this. That St. Petersburg International Economic Forum is Russia's response to the World Economic Forum that's held in Switzerland.
What?
Oh, that sounds like him too. Like, well, you're gonna have a forum. I'm gonna have a forum.
And it'll
If
be
you're a
even
forum, I'm a
better.
forum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, notebook
And-
reference.
Something funny happened on the way to the forum.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Oh, God, that's annoying.
it is.
That's almost hack.
For
It
the
is.
it's totally hack.
Totally hack.
Yeah, it's completely hack, and it's just he's so Putin and Russia. They're so committed to just going against every established sort of just whatever ethics, world order.
They're very
anything.
squid pro quo.
Oh my god,
They're very
Definitely.
tit for tat. They're very eye for an eye.
They're the
Yeah.
embodiment of that. Yeah, for sure.
And I've always been. I think it was Gandhi who said, "An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind."
It's true.
That's my whole thing.
I
Yeah.
agree.
They'll never turn the other cheek. So
No. And they'll do an eye for the eye thing, but then they'll make up, it'll be based on a false premise.
Exactly.
Like, how are you, Putin? I've seen interviews with Putin where he's like, oh, well, the U.S. is, what about the U.S. intervening in our government all the time and shit? And it's just like, maybe you'd be woke right now if you weren't a fucking, like, human rights violating dictator.
Exactly. He's all about whataboutism. So, I mean, he's never going to give you a straight answer when it comes to his accountability.
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, basically, to wrap it up, Nader has super strong ties to the UAE and super strong ties to Moscow because he's essentially just creating the community. He's a communication link creator. So, that's the continuation of the tale of George Nader. Nice guy talking to Mueller.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? He's cooperating. So.
Exactly. Nice to the investigation.
Exactly. But
Not
after
making
that,
a moral judgment on him as a person. Just saying. It's nice that he's cooperating.
I'm judging him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's the most. Fuck yeah, he should be judged.
Well, thanks, Jordan.
Thank you.
The Nader guy is a huge get for the Mueller team. And his immunity is huge,
Yeah.
as we talked about. So
They should have baseball cards or Pokemon cards of all the people that are cooperating. And
Oh my God, we should make them. And you could
trading
trade cards.
Trump Russia probe trading cards.
Guys,
That'd be
come
fun,
on.
like
Pogs
with
or whatever.
holograms.
That's perfect.
Oh, let's not get crazy
They
with
get
the
all
holograms.
shiny when you tilt
Don't
them
tempt
from
me.
side to side.
I'll work on this tonight.
Yeah.
That's a high cost, though.
Mueller
True.
Pokedeck.
No, with the oh 235. Yeah. Fucking witnesses. All right. So a lot of shit went down this week, you guys, involving Manafort. And all those things lead me to believe that he is going to face superseding indictments for crimes of collusion with Russia. Allow me to explain. It all began one day. It all began with Manafort's motion to dismiss charges. Manafort filed suit with 2 counts against the Department of Justice and Mueller to dismiss charges against him. Count 1 alleged that Mueller should have never been appointed, as we said before, and Manafort asserts that there was not enough criminality to justify an appointment of the special counsel to investigate the Trump campaign to begin with, and therefore not enough to investigate Manafort. The second count alleges that even if there was cause to appoint Mueller, Mueller went way outside of the scope of his jurisdiction when he investigated Manafort. Well, Mueller filed a lengthy response, as we know, to Manafort's motion to dismiss the charges, and in this filing is a 4-page, never-before-seen secret DOJ memo that Rosenstein wrote in August of last year, detailing all the things that he was giving Mueller permission to investigate. We've talked about this earlier in the episode. So, the public special counsel appointment document was not specific at all. It just said special counsel can investigate Trump-Russia and anything that arises from Trump-Russia. But the secret memo, as I said, almost all of which is redacted except for 2 bullet points about Manafort, specifically allows Mueller to investigate crimes of collusion with Russia and all the money Manafort made during the tenure of Viktor Yanukovych.
Nice.
So that memo contains clue number 1. Clue number 1. It indicates that Manafort allegedly committed crimes of collusion with Russia in respect to election interference, and it also indicates the Department of Justice thinks collusion is a crime somehow. We haven't figured it out, at least in this context. So there's no law of collusion, but conspiracy, racketeering, violating finance laws, we've talked about that.
Exactly.
Could all be what makes this illegal. So Manafort is being or has been investigated for collusion, but none of his current indictments include those crimes. They're all money and tax and all that shit, okay? That's clue number 1. Clue number 2. Ding dong. That there will be superseding indictments for Manafort was in a minute order filed in his case this week that stated Manafort's count 2 to dismiss the charges. The one that alleges Mueller doesn't have jurisdiction, that was denied by the court, likely because Rosenstein's memo clearly indicated Mueller did have the authority to look at that shit.
Exactly.
But the judge asked Manafort to write a brief about count 1, and it's due to her on April 11th. And she acknowledged that Manafort is seeking relief not only from current indictments, but he wants relief from future indictments.
Interesting.
Only a criminal would say that.
And a criminal that knows he's about to get more crimes against
Future
him.
indictments, right? So clue number 3. Thursday night discovery of warrants against Manafort. All those, it's court filing, all these new warrants. It shows that Manafort is still being searched. And as recently as March 9th, you guys. So what's that? A few weeks ago. That's when Mueller seized 5 of his mobile phones. That indicates that he's not investigating money. Okay?
Information.
He's investigating his whereabouts because that's what's included in a cell phone.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like the triangulating and all that?
Yeah, the cell tower pings. Such as, I don't know, meetings with Kalimnik or Deripaska.
You can't delete that from your phone unless you're a super nerd or something,
during
right?
private briefs, he promised that he can't even doctor a PDF. So I don't think...
He's so fucked.
We're good. Yeah. He's not going to be able to do that. But that, to me, the fact that he got cell phones was... and I'm just... This is conjecture.
For sure.
But they're trying to figure out where he was.
Yeah.
At certain times. And remember when he was dining with Kalimnik and Deripaska landed in Newark and all that shit? Because he was trying to repay Deripaska his debt for the Ukrainian cable deal that went wrong. Yeah. So there you go, phones.
Yeah.
Clue number 4.
I love it.
Remember earlier when I asked you to put a pin in the fact that Mueller reminded van der Zwaan that he waived his FOIA rights?
Yeah.
Remember? I was like, put some beans on it or whatever. Credit Dallas McLaughlin. Because he has sensitive information. Van der Zwaan has sensitive information on future ongoing investigations. Van der Zwaan worked with Manafort, and I think some of the information he knows could interfere with future superseding indictments for crimes of collusion. And I'm not sure Van der Zwaan isn't cooperating in some way in the collusion case against Manafort, and we just don't know about it because it's got to be kept secret from Trump specifically.
Yeah.
I mean, he was only charged with lying to the FBI, and he's only serving 30 days in jail. That seems light.
It does compared to everything else that's been involved. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems very light.
To be continued.
Mm-hmm.
That's from The Wire. All right. And many other things. But
Of course. You know. Yeah.
Basic storybooks.
Yes.
really. Anyway, so the final clue. The final countdown. Parts of the warrants released in this week's discovery were redacted because they contain sensitive information from an ongoing investigation that is, quote, not part of the current prosecutions involving Manafort.
Oh, snap.
So, Rosenstein told Mueller to investigate criminal collusion with Manafort. Mueller hasn't finished that line of inquiry, nor does he want to tip his cards by indicting on collusion before he speaks to the main subjects.
Right.
Not the targets, but the main subjects, like DT Jr., Kushner, Trump, Ivanka, all them.
Yeah, the big fish.
Fortunately, Trump is likely to speak to Mueller because Mueller told him he's not a target, which relieved Trump, and because Dowd, the only one of Trump's lawyers advising him against testifying, has resigned.
Yeah, he's gone.
And once Mueller speaks to Trump, or perhaps just prior, I think we're going to see superseding indictments for Manafort relating to crimes of collusion with Russia. So, mark my words.
Yeah.
Put some beans on it.
Yeah, good case.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Those are all the clues.
Do you think he was not giving him all the indictments in the hopes that maybe he was going to flip and cooperate?
That's going to be in the minisode.
Oh,
For $1.
yeah.
What? Pay $1 and listen to my thoughts.
Yes.
That's a weird song.
I like it. I like it. It's
Anyway.
a new jingle.
I love coming up with jingles. It's just $1 and you can hear all my weird theories.
That's a lot of 2 cents. Yeah.
It is. It's 50.
Math.
You can listen
That's
to
why
my
I dropped out.
you can listen to my 2 cents 50 times.
Very nice.
Thank you. All right, you guys. We'll be right back. Hello, Mueller junkies. I totally understand that you may not be able to contribute to the podcast, so I have a very easy favor to ask. Please head over to iTunes and rate us. We love your feedback. Plus, it helps us get featured and widen our listener base. And our listeners are pretty much everything to us. So hop over and drop us a line, give us a rating, leave a comment, anything you can do. It'll only take a second of your time, and it would really mean the world to us. You can also follow us on Twitter @MuellerSheWrote, and you'll be automatically entered to win a PlayStation 4. I'm giving one away because, as it turns out, if you hashtag PlayStation 4 in your posts, you get more views. So yeah, we may be cheating the algorithm, but hey, at least we didn't cheat America. Thank you so much for listening. All right, you guys, we're back. Are you ready for the Fantasy Indictment League?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love every week. You're like, yeah. Yeah. What you want? All right, this week we need to remove someone from my fantasy indictment team. Peter Smith, a GOP operative that was trying to find hacked Clinton emails on the dark web, like Schmitz was. You got some Schmitz on your face? He was trying to find hacked Clemail. Actually, let's just call Clinton emails Clemails.
There you go, Clemails.
On the dark web. He also said he was in touch with Bannon, Kellyanne Conway, and others in the Flynn. We go over him in this week's review of the book Russian Roulette, so check that out. Well, we placed Peter Smith on our fantasy indictment team because of that and because he was listed in the Minority Report. Remember the Minority Report came out that said all these people need to be looked into that weren't looked into?
Exactly.
He was on there. Well, it turns out he committed suicide in May of 2017.
I did not know that.
I didn't know it either.
Wow.
Until I
just
read it
got
in
out
Russian
today.
Roulette.
Oh my God.
Same.
He left a note, apparently, too, and it said, quote, no foul play whatsoever. However, he somehow ended up in the Minority Report
Interesting.
as someone they wanted more documents from.
Yeah.
And the Minority Report was a couple episodes ago.
Right. So I wonder.
And this guy committed suicide almost a year ago.
2017.
It's just
Yeah.
so strange.
All right, you guys ready for sabotage?
Yes.
All right, you guys, this week, Scott Stedman on Twitter, I follow this guy, he's great. He received a document this week that lists Putin-linked oligarch Len Blavatnik as a VIP at the 2016 RNC. What? That's the Republican National Convention?
Right.
Mueller is probing his donations to GOP candidates and the Trump inaugural fund.
Interesting, yeah.
Inaugural is a hard word for me.
It is.
It's a tough one, yeah.
So
Tough times, too, to think about.
Yeah.
still $50 million is missing from that effing inaugural fund.
That's
Maybe
right,
it came from
yeah.
this guy. This is one more potential foreign donor to the Trump campaign that could have funneled his money through the NRA or straw donors. So I'm adding him to the fantasy team.
Okay.
A straw donor is like an American who takes your illegal money from a shell company that's been laundered from a foreign government and then donates it to a super PAC or something else.
Yeah. Right.
That's like, it's kind of like if you've ever heard a straw man argument.
Yeah.
It's like you stand up a cutout, a fake person, a go-between.
Middleman. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Cutout. I like cutout.
I like that too.
All right. So anyway, then the only thing that really changes that I'm adding that guy to the fantasy indictment league. And here's the interesting thing though, when you indict Russians, there's no guarantee that they'll ever be brought to justice.
Yeah.
But
when's the last time Russia extradited someone?
Never. To us, none that I can think of.
It's not their
I'll look
policy.
it up, but I can't.
They literally
imagine.
just don't. They don't do that, right? They
Well, I
don't even want
can't ever imagine them going, oh, yes, we'll happily turn over our
Yeah,
people.
exactly. There's nothing. I mean, yeah, if they're. Every time one of their people would need to be extradited to us, they were behind the orchestration of the crime.
Exactly. Yeah. State-run hits all
Very
the time.
true. Very true. All right, you guys, let's go to questions. All right, so Chris Jackson, at Chalupa Cabra. That's my favorite. At Chalupa _Cabra.
Yes,
So you can
almost
find
as good
him.
as Poop Weasel. Yeah.
Poop Weasel is amazing. But Chalupa Cabra, _ between Chalupa and Cabra. I just want to say it all at once. Sorry.
Yes.
I don't want to say Chalupa _ Cabra. Anyway, he wants to know if Trump can just plead the fifth.
Well, yeah, right. He
And
can.
wouldn't that make a subpoena pretty much useless? Legally speaking, yes. Politically speaking, no.
Right.
And it also depends on what people think of it. If
The public, yeah.
Yeah, if you subpoena Trump and he comes in, well, first of all, if you ask him for an interview and he goes, no, I'm innocent, no collusion. And then you say, all right, I'm going to subpoena you. And he goes, fine, I'll be there.
Right.
And then he shows up and then you go, hey, what about, he goes, plead the fifth, nothing to say. Then that looks bad.
Right, but it's
looks
happened
super
so
bad.
often, so I don't even know what we would do if he did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've seen it done time and time again with all of his associates, or some of them at least. And I don't know. I think there's definitely going to be a tipping point where people draw the line and go out into the streets like never before. I'm just not sure if that would be the thing.
It's impossible to know who would finally defect from Trump.
Exactly.
With all of the things he's done, the people who still support him, I feel like they're never going to not support him.
Exactly. And we have to accept that, because if you try to win them over and get every Trumpette to just see the lights, you're never going to get there.
What we need is Congress.
Exactly. Do what you can.
But they're also compromised.
Blue wave?
So that's our hope, right?
That's what we got to aim for.
That's why you donate to this podcast. That's
all
why you
comes
become
back.
a patron. For $1, you get all the free stuff, and we donate to Act Blue.
Seriously, guys, it's a good thing. I
We're
truly
gonna
believe
flip the
it.
Congress. I'm gonna do it. I can't just do this podcast because I want to. I have to.
No, we're
make a difference
invested on
somehow.
a political level for sure.
Heck yeah.
And also him pleading the fifth too. It's not like Mueller's going to ask him something that only Trump's testimony holds the key to corroborating or something.
Well, the fifth is right. Like the fifth is self-incriminating.
self-incriminate, yeah.
Right.
But I don't
I'm
think.
sure
I mean,
there's
he
a
could ask him
sufficient
stuff about
evidence.
Kushner and Jr. and stuff, and he can't plead the fifth for that. But the stuff about Trump himself, he can
Yeah.
plead the fifth all day.
Yeah.
But you could. I mean, you don't
Now,
have
if
to have.
Melania divorced him and went on the record, I'd interview Melania.
He'll pay her whatever he needs though to keep her quiet. You know he will.
Or he just tells her off because he's a fucking misogynist all the
That
time
too.
and just like kick her
Yeah.
out of the room whenever that shit's happening.
I'm on your side, Melania. If you happen to get a chance away from him, to
Dude,
listen to
Melania,
this.
if you testified against your husband, the GoFundMe would be epic.
and you'd get so much ass.
100%.
And you would make so much. You make so much money off of appearances and,
Yeah.
and just being so famous because you saved the country.
I'd be your
Yeah.
biggest fan. can.
Do you know that she's like
as a Russian?
She's like worshipped in her hometown. Apparently, I think Conan or I don't know, someone like went to her
John
hometown.
Oliver. Yeah.
And then they have bakeries that have
They
all
love
these
her.
baked goods just dedicated to Melania.
Because the worst that she's doing is just keeping quiet, but she could be holding back for the right time.
Yeah, I wonder.
Well, you also have to think from where she comes from. It's not women aren't seen as equal
Political players and speaking.
Well, they aren't seen as
out
equal
and-
to men.
Yeah. So I got your back, Melania.
Yeah,
we got your back.
We got you. You can be on the pod for
Hell
sure.
yeah! Oh my god.
You speak 5 languages, dude.
Like,
I
seriously?
speak German.
We'll be. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's impressive.
I didn't know that.
I love that.
So, okay, Eva Della Rosa asked if we can give some detail about how Mueller can prevent Trump from handing out pardons. Well, listen to this week's mini-sode called Mueller's Endgame. But there's a few things he can do. Basically, what he's already done is work in parallel with state attorneys general, specifically Eric Schneiderman, who will be in the Sexy Justice calendar, by the way. And thanks for your patience on that, by the way, for you guys who have pledged at that level. We ran into some licensing issues when we were creating it, but we'll have him very soon at the end of the month.
Absolutely.
Guilt-free.
It's going to be the best part. It'll be worth the wait for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, thank you for waiting for that. But yeah, listen to the Endgame episode. I happen to know that you're a patron, so you'll be able to hear it. Jeannie at Nick's Rocks said, has anyone seen Kellyanne Conway? It's been weeks since she's been on TV, although I don't watch Fox, haha.
Yeah.
She can't be innocent in any of this, can she?
No way. She broke the Hatch Act already. She didn't care. No one did anything about it.
That's not part of Mueller stuff, though.
True, but like, what do you think she's up to right now? Where is she?
She might be they might have put a muzzle on her because she broke the Hatch Act.
Well, that would be progress.
Yeah. Like maybe, John Kelly might have
said shut her up. Yeah.
He's, I think, the only one left there with any semblance
consequence
of sanity.
for that would be great, but yeah, I haven't seen much of it.
No. Well, I mean, when you violate the Hatch Act, really the consequences, you can get fired. But she's also apparently wrapped up in this whole finding Clinton emails on the dark web shit with Schmitz and
she's involved
Smith.
in that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, according to Schmitz Smith, but we'll see.
We'll see.
All right. She also asked, by the way, Nick's Rocks also asked if Trump's approval rating is really 51%.
No, it's down, right?
Well, Rasmussen put out a poll.
Oh, okay.
That it's 51% now, and Rasmussen is
Never heard of them.
super right wing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, then I guess
Then
we got to count that too,
If it's
right?
not even, it's
No.
No, not
barely
at all.
over 50%, and it's a super right wing.
You can do what Pew Research does,
Yeah.
or the poll of polls, which is they take all the polls and average them
Right.
out.
But
It's-
amongst Trump supporters, 51% is not that good.
it's not just Trump supporters.
Oh, it's everyone
It's
they
really
claim?
well.
Okay.
It's supposed
let me
to
tell
be
you what.
unbiased.
It's impossible to say who's in that, but
Got
it's a
it.
right wing poll.
Okay.
His actual approval rating is somewhere around 42%.
Yeah.
right now.
Okay.
I would be
which-
willing to. I mean, CNN polls; those are like left-leaning polls.
Yeah, I guess those were the ones I was thinking of that were in the 30s. So 40 sounds fair. It's right
Yeah.
in between what the right claims and the left claims.
42 is the poll of polls.
That makes
the
sense.
poll of all polls.
The poll of
The poll of
polls,
polls.
where they take all of the polls,
Yeah.
including Rasmussen.
Okay.
And including everything, just and stick it all
That
together.
sounds
Nice.
fair. Yeah.
But they don't. But they also balance it. They don't take 20 left-wing polls and 6
Yeah.
right-wing polls. They put
Even.
a beautiful scope.
Yeah,
Good for them.
Also, clarification: I'm not saying CNN conducts their own national polls, just the
No,
ones that
yeah.
they report on.
They are definitely like left leaning for sure. Yeah.
CNN does do polls, but they don't. Yeah, but they always say this is just a CNN poll. All right, so Katinka Inga Bagovina at Katinka_Inga.
Derek, I'd like you to meet Katinka Inga Borgovnina.
Asked, quote, do you think the Russians have compromat on Donald Trump Jr.? All right, well, with the new crazy sanctions on the Russian oligarchs, we might find out. Remember I was saying earlier, like, what are they going to do in retaliation?
Yeah.
They put sanctions on our oligarchs? I was going to say we don't have any, but we do. But what are you going to do, sanction Trump?
Yeah.
Anyway, we might find out. That might be his response.
Yeah,
is to
his only
release
move.
Some of the I don't know personally if
Right.
he has any compromat on Donald Trump Jr., although he does apparently sleep with prostitutes and cheat on his wife, so it wouldn't be unheard of.
Exactly.
We sanction Putin's son-in-law, right? So Putin might snap back at Trump's son-in-law.
Yeah, you're right.
Like I said, they're very tit for tat, so they, maybe they'll let some embarrassing information go. At Samira LV wants to know if the sanctions are legit. and if Sessions is going to be replaced by Pruitt. You were asking this, if the sanctions are legit. I really don't know. They look legit to me. I mean, a sanction is a sanction. It's the U.S. Treasury that's doing it. It's not just Trump saying, I'm going to do it. At L.E. Cody, or Lakody, asked, what will it take for Trump to resign and what excuse will he give? Well, I would have said he would use his health as an excuse. But since Dr. Smiley Face came out and said his health was incredible and that his heart was amazing.
Yes.
That would be hard to do. Like, I thought he could get out of it. Like, I thought maybe, like, Ivanka could go on TV and be like, father is ill. Thank you all so much for understanding.
Yeah.
Enjoy your presidency. With Pence. But, you know, if he were to resign, he doesn't seem like Nixon resigned when Congress came to him and said, we're going to impeach you if you don't resign. But if Congress came to Trump and said, we're going to impeach you if you don't resign, I don't think he would resign because you have to have 2/3 vote in the Senate to resign. And even after the blue wave, we mathematically won't have 2/3 of a vote.
So he would.
That's why I'm counting on the Romney 9.
Yeah.
The Romney 9.
Those
remember?
Republican guys that we need to rally.
If Romney gets elected, all he needs is 8 other dudes.
Let's do it. Let's throw a little money towards Romney.
The Romney 9. I'm telling you, man, it has to happen. Kimberly Stebbins says, quote, these ladies have a perfect balance of sharing facts and using humor to cope with the daunting future of this country. I look forward to their podcast every week. 5 stars.
Aw, thank you.
Millicent Womack says, quote, this is the podcast that made me start listening to podcasts. The recaps are both informative and fun to listen to. These smart women are the politics obsessive friends I wish I had IRL. Aww. You all have something special. Keep it up. 5 stars. Oh,
dude, thank you. Nice. Yes.
The podcast I got you started listening to podcasts. Yeah. That's crazy.
That's huge. I appreciate that. Yeah, we appreciate that.
Get to hear podcasts now. Lee Crosby at, let's see, Tea and Magnolias on Twitter. She says, quote, but I thought Ivanka was the savior for womankind. And what with all her clever ideas about making popsicles out of champagne and, quote, doing it all with nannies, drivers, maids, and chefs?
Very good point.
That just cracked me up.
I love that because it's true. We all wanted to give her a chance. And sure, she's probably not the worst person on earth.
No, she's pretty fucking bad. I just like she's like, women can do it all. And you're like, yeah, when you have a zillion
maids
dollars.
And chauffeurs and butlers. Yeah, no, totally nailed it.
All right, if 6 was 9, or at Al Smith 751462234 on Twitter says, quote, yours is the most comprehensive and entertaining podcast following the investigation, in my humble opinion. To the degree that in arriving late in the following, what? To the degree that arriving late in the following, I'm going back through and listening from the beginning to catch up.
Aww.
And some people have had problems on iTunes and some other platforms listening to all of our episodes. If you go to our website, all of our episodes are there. You just have to go down to the bottom and click the little thing that says scroll for older episodes.
Check it out. Website's nice too if you haven't seen it yet. It's just worth checking out.
MotherSheWrote.com. At Mel Opinions Only on Twitter said, hashtag Mueller movie.
Nice. Yes.
There isn't an actor who could even vaguely look like Trump. Perhaps using a cartoon character like Brain from Pinky and the Brain, trying to take over the world.
That's funny.
To which I replied, quote, I bet Charlize Theron could pull it off. Did you see Monster?
No. But I heard that it was an amazing movie.
And she looks really bad.
Yeah.
Like, they made her amazingly on target.
Everybody has their price.
It was great. She's an amazingly gorgeous person.
Yeah.
Just, objectively speaking. I'm not saying that that's the standard.
No.
But when you look at the makeup she did for the movie Monster, it's
she was having a hard time. I remember the images.
I think they could.
Movie.
I think they could make her do Trump. I think it would work out.
I support that so much.
Let's see. Johnny Dreesen, I'm going to go with a German pronunciation, said, quote, MSW rocks. Recommended to me by a friend and a colleague, this trio does a great job of boiling each week's worth of Mueller news into a format that's easier to digest than the constant onslaught of feces that is the Trump administration. These women are funny and savvy on the topics at hand and reliably prescient. Very nice word.
That is, yeah.
Please define.
Of the investigations, course and actions. So
That's amazing.
Prescient.
Thank you.
Very nice.
We always need new
Here, I'll
vocabulary
get you a
words.
technical.
It's like
yes.
misprision.
Ooh, misprision, yes.
Oh, are you looking at the definition of prescient?
Yes. I don't even. How do you?
Someone called me
P-R-E?
nebulously annoying, and I had to look it up, and I was like, wow, thank you for that word.
They called you what? Annoying?
Nebulously annoying.
That is really mean.
Sounds like a nebula. I mean,
And what does that even mean? I like nebulas.
I'm vaguely annoying is what, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, okay, I got it. Having or showing knowledge of events before they take place.
Oh.
We are predictive.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Synonyms. Prophetic.
I love that. I could have passed my SATs with these. Like,
Maybe that should be the put some beans on it.
Yes.
Allow me to be prophetic. Or prescient.
Prescient. Visionary.
Prescient.
Yeah.
These are all really good words.
Another thing that happened, Christopher Titus followed us. I love him so much, so there's that.
Yay, thank you.
Finally, I owe a shout out to some of our patrons for their immense support and taking the word about MSW to the streets for us. All right, so ready? Ann Craig, Daniel Stafford, Jennifer Nebeker, Nama Haviv, Jennifer Hughes, Eva De La Rosa, Jenna Gaines, Anthony Kripal, Desi Ralph, Johnny Orme, Janine Acosta, Ezra Cohen. Thank you guys so much
Yes.
for spreading the gospel of Mueller. We totally appreciate your support. You're just
love
I'm
you
beyond.
so much.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you
beyond
so
words.
much. And it made a difference.
It
Hell
really
yeah.
did. It absolutely did this week. So thank you. And there, you got your shout out. And I wish I could do more.
Yeah.
We'll
I want to
do
hug
as much
you.
as we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every week, like, keep it up. We're just gonna keep trying to
We
shout
got a
out.
community.
Yeah, like, I love it. I love that I can barely keep up with how many people are so supportive. Like, that's just the best feeling, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Anyway, this is Mueller, She Wrote. I'm AG.
I'm Jaleesa Johnson.
I'm Jordan Coburn.
We'll see you next week. Mueller, She Wrote is produced and engineered by AG with editing and mixing by Jaleesa Johnson. Market consulting by Amanda Reeder at Unicorn Creative. Our digital media director and subscriber manager is Jordan Coburn. Fact-checking and research by AG with support from Jaleesa Johnson and Jordan Coburn. Our web design and creative is by Joelle Reeder with Moxie Design Studios, and our website is MuellerSheWrote.com.